Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Greg Farrell. I'm here with the 6th segment for Futsal Talk WA. Thank you very much for joining us. On today's segment, we are going to have two ladies who have been playing in the Superliga and coaching for quite a while, have both represented West Coast at the most recent national championships. First, we will have Karla Reyes, who coaches and plays with the Chico5 side in the Superliga B. And then we will have Kayla McCulloch, who currently plays for the Northern Hawks women's team, has previously played for the Hollywood Cobras. Just a few things, and I have said it each week, but it is still relevant. We need to say thank you to the people who are working on the front lines in health, in education. They are still putting their lives and the lives of other people that they love, not at risk, but at a heightened risk, I guess, for the good of society. So thank you very much to those people. Also, again, our armed services and people who work in the police force, lawyers, everybody who is putting their health and safety on the line, thank you very much. Just a quick update, we have had the easing of restrictions and an announcement from the federal government about how futsal and sport in general is going to be able to return. The 3-stage process that was announced during the week is going to affect us in that there are restrictions on being able to play contact sport. At the moment, it looks as though futsal and outdoor football are going to be considered in stage 3, but whether or not the dates to be set by the WA government still are going to, I guess, be a little bit fluid depending on how we go with social distancing and keeping the numbers as low as possible. There has been information put out by the Queensland state government that they are expecting to have social sport, community sport, back in about mid-July. But then, of course, there are situations with the AFL, the NRL, where they are hoping to be back at the end of May or early June. So we're just going to have to continue to play it by ear. It obviously is another step in the right direction, but we aren't too much closer to knowing exactly when we are going to be able to be back playing and having leagues running and all that sort of thing. But hopefully, as I said, we have taken another step. It's just not a definitive one as of yet. So I will ask Annie to see if we can get Karla on the line. As soon as we do get Karla on, we're going to initially talk to Karla about everything that's happened with Chico5 over the since they have come into the Superliga, and where she sees them going moving forwards. While we are waiting for Karla to join, just a couple of thank yous to other people, especially the people who have been contributing with questions. Amir, Tom, Lauren Baker, Fion, Barry Tetley. There's been a great number of people who have contributed with questions during the interviews and also with messages before and then after. If you do have something, please feel free to send it, put it in the comments or send it to myself or to Annie in a message, and we'll do our best to get to everybody's questions. Annie is just trying to get Karla online. We're just possibly having a slight issue at the moment. What I will do, so when we move on from Karla, we will be talking to Kayla McCulloch. Kayla started with West Coast Futsal back in 2015 with a group of junior players, junior girls, and sort of has come a very long way since then. I'm going to get more into the technical side and tactical side of the game with Kayla. We started to touch on that last week with Murden. And also thank you to the guests who we have had, Murden and Alex Collier last week and everyone before that. I think we get a lot of positive feedback. A lot of people are enjoying hearing different people's perspectives and seeing the way and the passion that people have about the game. So I think we have Karla with us. Might just be a little bit of an issue with her internet. Karla, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you?
I can hear you, yes. I can't, at the moment the picture is frozen, but
Yeah, I don't know what's
Annie's,
going on.
no, that's all right. Annie's going to work on getting that sorted. First of all, how are you?
Good, and you?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. We'll jump straight into the questions.
Yes.
So, and I've just given a little bit of an introduction. Your team, Chico5, have been a part of the Superliga now for about 2 years. What changes have you seen in that time?
Well, in that time, well, so in the league, you mean? We have
Yeah,
noticed several.
in the league and also with your team.
Okay, yeah. So in the league, we have noticed several changes. I think today the league is much better organized than when we started. Um, the web page works better. Now we can see the pictures and the results updated more often. Regarding to social media, the fact that you upload photos of the competition and MVP awards weekly, we think is
Yeah,
really motivating for everyone to do the best every game. So
yeah,
yeah, yeah, I think those are one of the um, things that we have noticed we have to improve. And
yeah.
also, there is something a bit polemic, but we think that there's been an improve in the referee judgment, and we are super happy with that actually.
Yeah, well, we are always working on improving every aspect, and that does
Yeah,
include the referees, and they do work hard to make sure that each week there is improvements and development. So I do appreciate the
yeah,
fact that you have
yeah,
mentioned that for them, and they will definitely
yeah,
appreciate that too.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, we know that the referees. I mean, it's a really unfair position. Um, we understand that, but we are happy that we can see uh, improvement on that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, going back to your side, so you have kept a core group of players from way back when you started back in 2017, 2018, all the way through to now. How do you think, and you've also then added several quality players in that time, how do you think the squad has developed and changed?
Well, when we started, we didn't know how to play soccer. We didn't know how to play futsal. So we started to play like just to do some exercise and play social games. But we are really passionate and also competitive. So we decided to go forward and learn more. So that's how we go into the Superliga. Um, I think that we have developed really, really well in this year, in these last 2 years. And even when we started with some disadvantage since the beginning, we have been able to get to semifinals. So we're happy with that. Now, nothing. We are looking forward to win the Division B and getting to the A with a better level and the level that is required for that division.
Yeah, well, and that was a big part of when you did first start and the group started training and then moving into the Superliga was one of the excellent things about your group was the competitiveness and their
Mm-hmm.
desire to get better and to work hard and to constantly try to improve. It's not
Yeah.
easy to find a good group of people who are all working to the same ideas, and you girls definitely do that.
Yeah, and we also are very friends. I mean, we are a group of friends and also
Yeah,
a group of players. So that helps us a lot regarding the feedback every game. So yeah.
And I think that is definitely noticeable as well. You girls are not just friends on the court, but off the court. And it means that you do fight for each other more when you are on the court.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So in terms of futsal, how has your thinking from 2 or 3 years ago changed to where you are now? Your understanding of the game?
Yeah. Well, as I told you, we didn't know how to play futsal. So now I would say that our improvement has been awesome. Now we can see the court with other eyes, the position, the strategy, everything has changed. We also have the experience of 2 players, Kaina and Gina, who went to part of the West Futsal Black team in the national this year, and myself coaching that team. So that is helping the Chico5 to improve and be in a better position now. I can also say that the skills acquiring that national have changed the way how Chico5 plays now.
Yeah, could you give us some specifics? What are some details that you now think about or see that you maybe didn't before?
Well, before we were like stuck with some positions, so we only got the defense forwards, but we didn't know how to use the whole court as one. We didn't know that one player has to be able to play in all the positions, in every position. So yes, that's one of the main things that we have learned. And yeah, moving around, positioning, touching, scoring, everything has improved thanks to the invitation of Kaina and Gina to play international. Of course, myself, coach, that I have learned a lot thanks to you.
Well, I give you girls the credit. There was some very good, I guess, a very good base for the Chico5 group. But once you were able to get new ideas, and then I think you're still going to see more benefit as the rest of your group continue to work with those ideas and start to develop more. And then also, which we have talked about before, when you do, you get bigger squads and you're able to have that little bit more depth. You guys are going to continue to see more improvement. And that sort of brings us to the next question. What do you see for Chico5 moving forward? What are your next set of goals? And you touched on it before, but could you give us some more specifics with regard to the squad and how you would like to play to try to get up to the A division?
Yeah, well, we are aiming to win Superliga Division B, try to maintain a good level to get into A. The first, after the COVID restriction go down, we are thinking of starting doing some training seasons every week. So I'll be coaching those sessions. I would also love to keep watching the games, videos of the games. To realize about them, yes, protecting games. What else? We also would like to grow the team, incorporate more players. We started only with Chilean and Colombian players, and now we have played with people from all around the world. So that's quite awesome, and we'd like to keep it like that. Yep.
Yes, the diversity in your group is another wonderful thing.
Oh yeah, it's very diverse.
Yeah,
but we also are very inclusive, so that's a good thing.
Most definitely, yes. And again, a lovely group. And you did just mention it, watching games. Do you Have you watched many of your games back from the video recordings that get done through that go online on video?
Yes, so I have watched 2 games against Pumas and against Kingsway. Yeah, if I
Yeah.
remember well. So
And
yeah,
sorry.
I have not been mistake. We have got some meetings and we have talked about them, about the specific mistake, about positioning. We have already done a training session.
Yeah.
Last week, actually. We started to practice these mistakes to try to avoid them in the future.
Yes. That's really good. I have heard a lot of feedback from people about watching games, and some of the players from the youth and even the junior national championship teams have really enjoyed being able to watch their games back, because you look at something and players don't necessarily think or realize some of the things that they've done until they get to see them back. So that's terrific that you are using that tool to be able to help your players to learn.
Yeah, and for me that I'm outside the court and watching the game and giving instruction, it's still hard to realize about the mistakes until I watch them like with my cold head after the game. So yeah, I think
yes, it certainly is a valuable coaching tool. So we've had a couple of questions come in for you, but I do have one more. So moving forward with Chico5 to get to the Superliga A, you've already mentioned getting a bigger squad and training, using the videos as a bit of a tool. Is there anything else that you think is going to be a big help for you to be able to reach those goals?
Yeah, well, I would say I would like to talk about first about the things that we are in disadvantage, because in the moment we are a small team. We don't have sponsors. We don't have enough money to develop this in a better way. But we are passionate. So what are we doing is everything based on that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sponsors is certainly a big thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
sponsors is definitely, yeah.
And also because the time we are not resident here in Australia, we are most of us are here momentarily.
Yeah.
Looking forward to stay, of course, but not resident. So our life is quite complicated because we have to manage family, studies, and also working, and plus soccer. So for us, playing futsal is an escape, and also it's something that motivates us a lot. So yeah.
It's a terrific insight, and it is very different to what the majority of players would experience. So I really appreciate that little insight. So, like I said, we've had a couple of questions. The first one, with your first experience this year at the national championships, can you tell us what you enjoyed most, and what did you take from that experience as a coach?
Okay, why I did enjoy most is watch the girls playing. Even when we didn't win all the games, I enjoyed a lot watching the girls, see their improvement in comparison to the first training that we got together. I learned a lot, so that's another thing. I always like to be learning every day different stuff. So learning about coaching futsal, it was really challenging. It is really challenging because I'm still learning. So yeah, I would say that's one of the things that I enjoy the most.
Yeah, terrific. All right. And a second question, and this is from Murder Nekic. At the moment, what do you think separates Chico5 from the other teams? What do you think the main differences are? And you've already touched on a few of them.
Yeah. So first is we are not a very established team.
Yeah.
That thing is separated from the other ones. I got something in my mind. I lost it.
You're okay.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most thing. We also don't speak English as our native way. So
Yeah,
it's
first
our
language.
second
Yeah.
language. It's our second language for all of us. That could be really tricky as well.
Yeah.
Because many times people misunderstand us because we say things that doesn't mean that what they think they mean.
Yeah.
So that things. And what I told you, we didn't know how to play soccer. Our experience is less than the other one.
Yeah. So the clubs is starting from a lesser starting point than what the other clubs have started from.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to make Chico team a stronger team and established team, but yeah, there are some things that have to happen for thinking about, like, for example,
Yeah. Well, I think you're certainly now an established team, and you have become competitive in that second division. So I think one of the big things for you guys moving forwards, as you've said, is getting training to happen, and then getting a second team of your own, because that will then assist you with being able to have more depth of players. And if you have 4 or 5 players away, you can draw from your second team. So that will be another challenge that I foresee for you moving forward. But again, your development so far has been terrific, and it was a pleasure to have you as a coach for the West Coast team, and I'm glad that you enjoyed the experience.
Yeah, I did, and I would love to repeat it. I would love to play as well. So let's see.
Yeah, so we would love to get you back on the court as well. We just need to make sure that you're being nice and careful and doing your recovery properly.
Yeah, I'm trying to be fit, I stay fit, and trying to look after myself as well to don't get injured again.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. All right, Karla, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate your insight and everything that you and Chico5 have brought to the Superliga and to futsal in WA. Please make sure you stay safe. So that was Karla Reyes from Chico5. Some interesting insight there about the perspective of a player who isn't a resident and also almost the entirety of the team, the difficulties that they face and the way that they go about doing certain things. So we really appreciate Karla coming on. We will get Kayla McCulloch on nice and quickly. I believe she's just about to join me. Hello. How are you, Kayla?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm not sure if you just heard Karla's interview, but we talked about the evolution, the development of Chico5 as a group, and Karla gave us some interesting insights into what it's like to be a team that isn't, I guess, based in your home country and speaking your native language and all of the other experiences. Your experiences are a little bit different to that, and we're gonna start with your introduction to futsal back in the middle of 2015. How has your view changed of the game of futsal since then?
Yeah, well, when I first started, futsal wasn't really, for me, it wasn't like its own sport. For me, it was more to help me with my outdoor, to help me with my skills, something to keep me fit throughout the season and throughout the off season. But I think after that first national trip to Brisbane, my thought of futsal really changed. Like, I met some great people, I learned some great things over there, and I realized how many opportunities futsal can bring and how much of its own sport it really is and how different it is from football. And I think now my views on that are still the same. I still see it as its own sport, but I see that there are really good opportunities that can come from it. So, yeah.
Next question. For you and everything that you have, I guess, been taught, seen, learned, experienced, what do you think are the fundamentals of the sport of futsal?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the obvious ones of like having a good first touch, having good awareness, good close ball control skills. But I think that those aspects, while they're important, they're not always the be all and end all for a good player. I think a lot of what makes what a good fundamental of futsal is actually like understanding the tactical side of futsal. So understanding where the space is, how to move players around, or how to manipulate your team members to create options, or the other team to create gaps so you can play through. So I think like just being able to understand the whole the game side of it, not just the tactical not just like the physical skill side, but understanding the mental side and the tactical side to it is really important. And I also think that for futsal, for you to be successful, you need to have good coaches and good teammates. And for me, I've been really lucky. I've been surrounded by a lot of good players, and I've been coached by a lot of good people, yourself included. But I think it really helps, like understanding that you can make mistakes, it helps you improve. And just knowing like the little basic skills, like just the close ball control, the step overs, the little feints, checking your shoulders, all that stuff. Just encouraging those little skills and encouraging you to try new things and make mistakes is really important to helping you improve as a player.
Yeah. What would you say to any player who is considering, I guess, reducing the amount of football that they play for a more futsal focused, I guess, lifestyle?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see a problem with it. I don't think you need futsal to play football, and I don't think you need football to play futsal. I think they both have their benefits, and they work well with each other, but they also have different aspects that they don't need both to combine together. But I think if you want to pursue a more futsal career or a futsal lifestyle, focusing more on your futsal is important. And if you don't have time to do both, then I would recommend reducing both. But I would also say that if you do have time, keep both as long as you can, because they both do interchange with each other. But it really just depends on how you are at that time and what you have time for and what you think is important for you.
Yeah, terrific. Moving on to a more tactical side of the game, with the different systems involved in futsal, could you give us an insight into the attacking and defensive systems that you have played in, but also what your preferences are, what you like, how you see the game?
Yeah, well, I think for defensive systems, I think both systems, they require really good communication between your players. I think you all need to be an understanding of what you're doing and knowing that we're either going from a 3-1 to a 2-2 or what we're doing at the time. We need to make sure that we're talking and communicating not just before and after the game, but throughout the game as well. And I think for defensive systems, an important part of it is your focus. You need to make sure that you're always aware of your surroundings, and you need to make sure that you're compact with your team. Because if you move just a step out of position, or if you're not paying attention for 2 seconds, you can create a gap and it leaves openings, and it results in just a cascading effect of like a breakdown of you're rushing after the ball because it's gone through, and then you're all out of position, and then it all just fumbles from there. So I think really being able to focus mentally is important in a defensive team, because you don't need to be chasing people all the time. Like, one of the most beneficial, I think, defensive systems we have is just holding in our diamond, because it keeps us not wasting our energy, but it makes them keep like moving and moving and moving, and hopefully we can intercept the ball when they fumble or they start to get tired, and we're able to just break from that and attack. And I think for attacking systems, what's really important is movement off the ball, especially for a 3-1 or even fly keeper, to actually like move the defense apart and create those spaces is really important to try and getting into those attacking positions, and either just doing a little check run up the line or rotating with someone. It may not seem like you're doing much, it may seem pointless, but there are times where just that quick ball through can really just set everything into action, and then you can just continue moving from there.
And what about, there is one system that you haven't mentioned, a 4-0.
4-0, yep.
Is that something that a little bit of a wry smile? Do you enjoy
Yep.
playing 4-0? Is it something that you like doing?
Enjoy playing. Yeah, I do enjoy playing it, but it's really a system you can only play with when the people around you, it's like second nature for them. It's not a system you can really pull off without having a lot of practice with. I think because most of like 3-1 or 2-2 or fly keeper, you kind of have set rotations you can do, but with 4-0, it's really just moving wherever you can, trying to just create different types of movements, going into the empty space, and like recognizing when there's an opportunity for you to accelerate forward and play that ball over the top. So I think there's always a time for 4-0, and I do enjoy it, especially when the other team's attacking really high and they don't know how to defend it properly. It's always good to just get that little dink over the top, and hopefully, I mean, obviously not me running onto it, but someone else with quick speed running onto it.
Don't sell yourself short.
But no, yeah, 4-0, I think it should be implemented more across Australia, I think. I think it's one of the systems that's not really looked at, and it's not really seen as, well, in WA it is, but over East, like, you don't really see many teams doing 4-0. Yeah. So I think that's a good system that should start being implemented a bit more.
I actually had an interesting conversation, might have been last week or the week before, with Tina Campos, and she asked me, is there a reason that more teams don't try and play 4-0 further forwards, why they don't do it up near halfway? If you were giving an answer to that question, what would you say?
I would say that I would think it would leave your back too vulnerable. I think if you lose that ball, it could be a 3v1 against the keeper, and it's hard for you to recover from that. I think one of the main focuses of 4-0 is to suck those plays in and create that big gap for you to run in. And if you're doing that further up the court, you're not really creating a big enough gap for you to run forward. It's more just you're playing close with each other, and it's a bit more risky if you lose the ball compared to even though it doesn't seem like it, I think it's more risky if you lose it higher up playing 4-0 than closer to your goals playing 4-0.
Yeah, well, and that was exactly the answer that I gave Tina. So one of the big things about playing 4-0 is that you do, and you just said it, if you give the ball away, you do expose yourself to a counter-attack. So the further away from your goal that you're doing it, the bigger the distance that your players have to recover if they give the ball away. There is sometimes a little bit of a misconception, though, especially as the game's developing, you see more teams doing it, and it's certainly something that we do need to explore more, is that you can still do it further forwards, but you're not so much looking for a ball in behind as you're looking for little 1-2s and those little cute parallels down the line and those very, I guess, subtle passes and movements. But as you said, it is a system that takes a deep knowledge and understanding with your teammates, and probably one that if you're not training 3 or 4 times a week is going to take a while to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, definitely took me a year to understand what 4-0 was.
Well, and that is the beauty of the game, is that we're all still learning, and even once you think you understand it, there are things that you will see in 10 or 15 years time and you'll think, oh, okay, that's something new. So as long as we never stop learning, then we're always going to be able to improve. Yeah. So next question for you. you've been overseas on a couple of occasions on futsal trips. You've won a national championship and lots of individual accolades. What do you think is next for you? Where are you hoping to go in the next step of your futsal career?
Yeah, well, I have been really lucky with my opportunities and being able to travel. I think next for me, I still want to be playing futsal at the highest level I possibly can, even maybe professionally. But one of my goals that I have, like in the next few years, whenever possible, is to actually have a win with the women's team, because we've been close the past few years, but we're never just, it's always just that last semi-final or something that always gets us. So actually being able to win the women's national team would definitely be a big highlight and a big goal of mine. But I think one other thing that I'm wanting to pursue for futsal is actually coaching as well. I had a bit of coaching experience this year, and I really enjoyed it. So actually being able to take my own team across and hopefully just develop, like maybe take a team across and develop with them over years, and hopefully just progress from that. That would be a goal of mine as well.
Yeah, well, and that's something that I spoke to both Tyna, Haley, Murden, Tom, Kev, lots of different people about, and I think your experiences at the end of last year with helping out as an assistant for one of the junior sides, as well as your leadership within the senior groups, is going to set you up well to be a coach. In terms of being a coach, do you think you will be, I guess, would you see yourself as an authoritarian coach, standing up on chairs, yelling and screaming, kicking things around, or do you think you'll be a little bit more relaxed as a coach?
I don't think I would be as vocal as you, but I mean, there's a time and a place to be an authoritarian coach and to just be a bit more relaxed about things. But I think for the most part, I wouldn't be very loud.
Just once at some point during your coaching, I would love to see you throw something on the floor in a little tantrum. It would be amazing.
Oh gosh, that probably that will probably happen.
All right. Well, we'll see. We've had a few questions come in. So first of all, Murden, Kayla, could you talk us through the feeling that you had when you won the first national championship?
Oh, that was it was amazing. Just like, it wasn't just because we won, but it was because everyone there supporting us. Like, I just remember looking, like, throughout the game, just looking to the stands, and it was all just West Coast. And then it was just, everyone was cheering. Like, everyone was just, like, that was just a great feeling. Just the big community family. That's something I'm never going to forget, I think. Like, it was just, obviously the feeling of winning was amazing.
Well,
but, yeah.
You would have had about 150 people in the stands that day cheering for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a day I'm not going to forget.
All right, next question. Who do you remember influenced you to trial in 2015, and who was the first person you met with West Coast? I'm sure you could guess who that question is from.
Well, that obviously, I'm guessing it was from Meg.
No, it was Tom Ellis. No?
Oh, it was Tom. Okay, well, Meg was the one that introduced me to futsal. And it was actually through outdoor. It was actually me, Zoe, and Darcy that all arrived at the same time from our core group. And it was through Meg, because she knew you and had to be doing futsal, and she said you guys needed a few players, so she asked us if we wanted to come down. So she was my first friend at West Coast, I would say, as well, because she introduced me and I knew her, and I think that was probably it. But yeah. Well, that was also Barry Tetley asked what brought you into futsal, so that it was a similar question there. The next question, which is another one from Murden, what separates you from other players as a fixo in a specific role, in that specific role? What do you think are things that you
do well?
I think I'm able to think a few steps ahead and see things progressing from one pass on one side of the court. I think I'm able to move that ball in a way that then can open something else up. I think that's something that I'm pretty comfortable doing. But I think that's probably, I don't know, I feel like I just have an awareness that I can just see gaps and see things working and can just play through them.
Yeah. Certainly the planning that you just talked about, the seeing things several steps ahead, is a big part of playing that role. And you mentioned it before as well, being able to manipulate space and move your teammates based on what you see and what is needed is another big thing about that role.
Yeah.
All right. Last question that we've got at the moment comes from Mick Day from Far Northern New South Wales. He has asked, what is your favourite defence?
Like defence system, I'm guessing?
I would suggest, your favourite system of defence.
I always enjoy pressing people. I always think that's, if we do it effectively, I think it's really good because I just like rushing at players and just making them fumble and just receiving the ball. That's probably one of my favourite defences. But I guess the most effective one I find is just holding and rotating and just moving little steps as a unit together. It doesn't seem like it would be that effective all the time, but it really is for just staying compact and tiring out the other team and just making sure that if we all do the right thing, it'll eventually work out in our favour.
Yeah. So let's just say Kayla McCulloch is coaching a team and she has asked them to press, I'm just going to throw a few questions at you. Would you ask that, would you want them to be defending individual or zonal or mixed defense?
I would say more so individual, but a bit mixed. For me personally, it depends on where the ball is on the court at the time. I guess really depends on what I would do. If it's a side ball, I would say more zonal. If someone makes a run, I wouldn't follow them. I would just say, let the player behind get that player and everyone else rotate with that. But if the ball's in play, I would say individual. I think that works quite well if everyone just sticks to their player and and isn't scared to actually, because I think we all have it ingrained when you defend, you're meant to be inside and you're not meant to cut that ball off and leave the gaps behind. But that's one of the main things of pressing is you need to cut those passes and leave those gaps and risk that happening, because if you all do the risky things, it actually ends up working better than people not doing half and half. It ends up working that everyone presses together and everyone actually can receive that ball and go forward.
Yeah. I think we have just gotten one more question. Annie's just getting that down on the court, but one other situation. So in your playing career, we've mostly set up for corners and set pieces in zonal situations with a slight, I guess, freedom to be a mixed defense for certain individuals. In defensive corners in those situations, I know you very much enjoy the position closest to a shooter down the line from a corner. What is it you think, why do you enjoy that? What is it you think you do well in that position?
Well, when I was younger, I used to hate that position because that's where you would get hit with the ball when you would defend. And I would always choose the line player because that was just the easiest thing you could go to, and you knew that there was a small chance of you messing that up, and if you mess it up, then you've really done something wrong. But I think now, because there's only most teams have a certain set pieces they do, and one of the traditional corner set pieces is just play the ball up that line and shoot. If everyone else is in the right position, that's really all they can do is play that ball up that line and shoot. So what I found is that instead of just being in like further back towards the goal, I like to step closer towards the line and kind of make it seem like that ball can go through, but I know myself I can still cut that ball off and get that ball and drive forward, because then it gives us the opportunity to go forward. And it's just like, it makes it a lot easier, because I don't know, it's always fun to pretend like I don't know, like I'm not going to get it, but then as soon as they play it, I'm just like, no, I got it.
That's good. I like the deception and the thinking. All right. We are going to have to wrap things up, Kayla, but we will go to this last question. Murden has said, and he's put this in the question, controversial question. Who is a better coach, Kevin or Greg?
Wow. Okay. Thanks, Murden. I mean, you're both going back to the coaching styles. He's not an authoritarian coach like you are. But I think both of you have your own aspects. Like, I think obviously you, Greg, you've had more experience, you have more knowledge on that side, but that's not saying that Kevin doesn't know what he's talking about. I think both of you have helped me individually in different ways. So I couldn't really pick between the two.
And that is a very, very good answer. All right. Well, Kayla, thank you very much for your time. Please make sure you stay safe and well.
Yeah.
Continue doing fitness work, as I'm sure you have been doing, so that when things do kick off, you're ready to go. And make sure you wish your mother a happy Mother's Day tomorrow. And for all mothers out there, please make sure, I hope you get pampered tomorrow. Have a terrific Mother's Day. Everybody stay safe. Thank you very much from me, and thank you very much to Annie for all of her help as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Bye.